We see what we do not want and want what we do not see, so we value what we see and get lost in the mirage of what we do not see. Be careful not to lose the value of what you see. Is there anything in your life right now that you don't want? Is there something you don't have in your life right now that you want? Ahmed is a successful 42-year-old engineer working in an international oil company with a large salary. He has been married for 10 years to his cousin Khadija, and they have 3 children. From the outside, his life seems wonderful from the point of view and the measure of any other person, as he has a wife, children, a job, and money. But from the inside, Ahmed had a lot of quarrels with Khadija, and he was always complaining that he was living in misery, feeling lonely, and getting frustrated more than once during the day. His main complaint was that he did not love his wife the way he wished for, and that he did not feel any desire or eagerness towards her, that he was completely different from her in everything, that she did not develop herself, that she did not care about her appearance or her home, and that she was very superficial and had no hobbies or interests of any kind, as she did not read. She did not like reading and did not share his personal interests with him, such as watching sports programs and walking, so he felt a severe shortage and a meaningless routine life, so he used to spend long times at his work, with his mother, or with his friends. His unhappiness increased and his distance from her increased, and when he was returning home late, he would quarrel with Khadija for trivial reasons. Ahmed used to see in others what he wished to see in his life and with his wife, and he wished he had married another woman, so he was ready to change, but he did not know how to do that until he met Samia, a secretary who worked with him in the same company he used to work for. And she was beautiful, educated, intelligent, and took care of herself and her appearance, and Ahmed felt that he was attracted to her, so he used to spend a lot of time with her, talking to her about various things, and time with her passed at a speed that he did not know with his wife. Ahmed used to compare his wife with Samia, and the comparison was always in favor of Samia, so he decided to marry her, and indeed he approached her about the matter and found acceptance from her, and the relationship between her began. Ahmed became attached to her, and after being far from his home, until his wife discovered his relationship with Samia, so she asked him for a divorce. Here, Ahmed felt relieved and found in the wife's request the way to salvation, so he actually divorced her, and told Samia the news, and that he was ready to propose to her from her father, so it was a surprise when Samia told him that her father, he agreed to marry her to an educated young man from a family that suits her family, and Samia agreed to the marriage. His journey began with psychiatric treatment, hospitals, and prescription drugs. Here Ahmed thought to himself that his marriage to Khadija was happy, and that Khadija was an educated woman and a university graduate, and she loved him with great love, so she left everything for him and for the sake of raising their 3 children. But he did not see that in her, and he focused only on her negatives until he completely cancelled all the positives that were Khadija has it. He was not satisfied with the value of what he had, and he focused on the value in others and hoped that it would be with him, so he neglected what he had and ran after the mirage of what he did not have, so his punishment was misery and loneliness. Ahmed thought to himself and decided to call his ex-wife, Khadija, and ask her to forgive him and return to him. Indeed, he called her, but he found another surprise that he did not expect at all, which is that Khadija married another person. Ahmed cried by burning him while thinking of himself. I had value in my life. I did not know how much it was until I lost it and went looking for something I wanted, but I did not know it, so the result was that the two were lost. Now let me walk. Do you belong in this story? Do you know someone who went through this same experience in their wife's life? Or do you know someone else who went through the same experience, but in his professional life, he was not satisfied with his job, even though it was a good job, so he left it and worked in another place, but after a short period of time he lost his job for some reason, so the two of them lost him? Or do you know another person who left his country to work abroad and failed and did not have patience, so he returned to his country after losing everything he owned? Or a student in a college who left it after he reached the third year in order to join another college, so he could not study there from the year, so he lost both of him? I personally know a woman who left her dreams and goals for the sake of her married life, her son, and her daughter, and when her children reached adolescence, she decided to complete her postgraduate studies until she obtained a doctorate degree, so she focused on her practical life until she reached the position of general manager of an international company. That her eldest son, who was 16 years old, had been severely injured in a car accident and that he was in the hospital in a serious condition, so she left the meeting and the papers and ran out crying until she reached the hospital. She asked Dr. Algera about what really happened, and he replied that her son was an addict, and he was driving very fast while under the influence of drugs. The mother sat crying, saying that she left my children for the sake of another success, so I lost my only son, and I no longer know my daughter, and now I no longer find any taste for my work, so where am I now, and what did I do with my children? The truth is that life is full of such examples that are rooted in only two words: dissatisfaction. But does this mean that a person is satisfied with anything, no matter the circumstances? To accept a bad relationship to the extreme? Or a job that does not give you your rights or appreciate your capabilities? Or with a friendship that makes your life a series of challenges and missed opportunities? Or a study that does not give you enthusiasm and hope in life? Or an investment in which you only find loss and negative feelings? Or a business partner who causes financial problems to the company and does not give his work his right? Of course not, but you must first do everything you can do in order to achieve happiness with what you have and be satisfied with what God Almighty has given you. If it was a bad marital relationship, you must do everything you can do in a positive way until you find the change you want in your life, on the condition that you do not fall into the trap of comparing your wife to another woman or a wife to another man, so as not to cancel out the positives she has and fall into the pain of negative feelings and psychological pressures and get lost in the imagination and mirage of what she does not have. And if you decide to get out of this relationship, be careful, honest with yourself and with the other person, and make the exit positive, and do not leave behind something that makes you regret it later or affects your life in the future. The same thing is in the case of a job that you do not like for one reason or another, so do everything you can do of effort in order to adapt to your work. And if you find that you have done everything you can do right and honestly, start looking for change, but on the condition that you leave your work in a positive way that leaves a good impact on everyone's hearts. Who knows if you might not need them again in the future? Therefore, be careful of your focus on people or things, and remember that the human mind is based on the last focus. If you find yourself focusing on someone or something in a negative way, go beyond this focus and remember everything positive about it so that you can evaluate in a balanced way that helps you make the right decisions. In order for you to be keen to wake up, you lose the value of what you see, so you are lost in the mirage of what you do not see.